thank you for that warm greeting. That's 50 years in, I think, 6 minutes. So that's quite a journey. But we traveled it with many people and with many of you. And as I enjoyed the award ceremony, and who'd have thunk the whole place would be winners? You know, all we could do is cheer each other on today. So we'll continue with that as we go into this. I'm going to talk to you today about what I think are the founding pillars of this business. I'll try and move along because Doug and Steve did such a great job covering almost all of it. But I'm going to cover them because if I don't cover them, there's nobody else to tell the story, because I was there when it happened. And it may be the last time we'll ever have a chance to be together like this. That's not a sad story. That's just the reality of life as it moves on. But the founding things that we did, only I can tell you about. And so I want to talk about them a little bit. And my story goes with many days with the people I see here. So we will move on from there a little bit. And Kato Nakajima-san from Japan was with me recently. And Kato said to me, "What did your faith have to do with the Amway plan?" And I looked at him and I said, "Kato, nobody's ever asked me that before. I don't know, but I'll try and answer you." And I began to go through it, and I ended up with the 4 pillars I want to talk to you about, or the foundation of this business. And I realized that all of those were based on a spiritual foundation that comes from our Christian faith in believing in the value of all people being created by God. You see, that's the foundation of the business, was our belief in who you were, that you were just as good as we were, that everybody should have an equal chance. And I realized that our faith was indeed the foundation of how we put this plan together. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have the degrees and have all the right things in place. You just have to have some faith and give it what you got from where you are. That's the wonder of it all. Quite a long time ago, really. Long before we had the privilege of hooking up with Neutralite. This business is celebrating, 50 years. We're celebrating 60 years. Because it's 60 years ago that Jay and I bought a sales kit, just like you did, and started selling Neutralite. But it was before that, 75 years ago, that Carl Wren, he had the concept of the plan, the basic concept. We just picked it up from them and ran with it and embellished it and cleaned it up and pushed it on. But when this company was small, people from the W.R. Grace Company, I think they were based in New York, big company, they were looking to diversify, and they came to call and see if we were for sale. They came to see us, and Jay and I said, "Oh, let's listen to them. Let's see what somebody thinks this thing is worth." And so he came, and he told us that he'd like to acquire us, and they named a number, and it was a pretty big number for us in those days. And we kind of laughed and said, "Ah, no." I said, "Yes, listen, we want to be in business for ourselves. We're not for sale. This business is not for sale. This is a trust. This is a legacy. Our family treats it as a legacy, not something they own. It's something they're responsible for. It's something they have to care for." But they came and made this offer, and we laughed, and he said, "Well, I tell you, if you don't sell, we're going to start a company like this and compete against you. Kind of a little threat, you know. And I laughed and I said, listen, if you're going to do that, I want to get you the sales kit so that you'll get the plan right. If you're going to do it right. And he smiled, but he took the kit. I said, now, everything's in the kit. All the plan there. You better sell because we're going to take you on. Well, they took us on. They started a company called Grace Home Products. One day I met Mr. Grace himself. Mr. Grace. I said, I'm one of the guys, I'm the Amway guy, you know. They told me you were starting a company to compete against it. I said, what happened to it? He looks at me and I said, yeah, you know, he said, it went broke. I said, oh, really? I said, I gave the guy the kit. The plan was in there. All you had to do was follow. And he looks at me and says, young man. I was young then. But he poked his finger in my chest and said, young man, you left something out. And that's what I want to talk to you about, is what I left out, so that you will remember it. Because you and I both know it's not just the plan. It's based on this faith that God's hand created us and that all of us have value and significance. And it's that spirit that carries us forward. That's not in the kit. It's in your heart. Out of that came what we speak of as our founding pillars: freedom, family, rewards, and hope. And I just want to hit those a little bit. Doug and Steve did such a great job on freedom that there's really not much left to talk about. But I want to add one thing, and they did brush upon it. Freedom and the free enterprise system that you enjoy and live with. Freedom always has responsibility. It's never just your right to be free, your right to do what you want to do. You have to carry with it the responsibility of doing it right. And that always comes down to a very simple phrase: you first and me second. My responsibility is to take care of you and make sure you succeed. And if that happens, then I succeed. And if you look at the plan, you see that that's all in the plan. That's what the plan is all about. You have to help your people, then you come out just fine. But when you get that backwards, and you want to take things out from them before you help them, then it starts to disintegrate. And that's part of what we're seeing in our world. And that's why our ethics have to be great, and our responsibility for the privilege of freedom has to go. I wrote a book many years ago called Compassionate Capitalism. And at that time, Russia was just beginning to play with free enterprise. And I wrote it actually with them in mind. And I wanted them to understand that it has to have a compassionate, caring element. If it's just about making money and not about caring for the people that are inside your country, then it doesn't work right. Somebody in Russia wanted to publish the book in Russian, and they came to me and said, there's too much God stuff in here. Can we take that out? And then we'd like to publish it. And I said, no. I said, if you take that out, throw the book away. Because the foundation of the book is in the value of the individual. That each person is to be respected, not just to be used or taken advantage of. It's you first, me second. That's the way I see freedom. So freedom in the Amway sense is what Doug and Steve talked about. But it's also in this sense of responsibility. The second thing of that, is family. We talk about the Amway family. Family is fundamental to this business because it's a relationship between us that we have. It's a relationship you have with all of your people that you bring in. They're not just distributors in your group. They're people you respect and love and care about. And if somebody's sick, then you all worry about it, don't you? And if somebody needs a meal because there's nobody home to cook, when somebody's there to do that. It's family. That's the glue that holds the business together. If you watched the basketball game last night, you watched a guy by the name of Michael Petrus throwing some nice three-pointers to help the Magic win. I think it's a good team. Anyway, that's just a little sidebar for the DeVos family. Michael Petrus was sitting in his chair in the locker room one day, and I came in with two young kids from my church that I was just bringing along to a game to encourage them. One of them had a little problem, and I said, I'll take him to the game and see if I can help him a little bit. And Michael was sitting on his chair, and he looked at these young guys and said to them, how old are you? And they said, 14. He said, it's Christmas time. You got a Christmas tree at your house? They said, oh, yes. He said, you have a family get-together, I suppose? And I said, yes. He said, I never had a family. I've never had a Christmas tree. I never had anybody sit around it. My mother died when I was 2, he said. And I was alone. And some people helped me, but I got along. And then one day an agent came along, and here I am and playing for the Magic. And I feel, he said, this is the first place I've ever been where I felt at home. And Michael said, he said, don't ever trade me. But he said, I just feel good here. And I put my arm around him and said, Michael, I said, you're in our family. Understand that. And the next day he got a quote in the paper, and he said, you know what? He said, being in the Magic, I feel like I'm in a family. You are in a family. And that's so important to us. That's the basic unit that holds society together. And that's why we have to hold each other together, lift each other up, encourage each other, do all of those things that you do as a family, loving and caring for each other. Family is a fundamental part of this. Now, we have a family, too. I have a wife. Jay and Betty were our neighbors. We not only were partners in business, we were buddies, we were friends, we were family. They lived next door. The kids went back and forth between the houses. When Jay and I were in our first business, a flying school, and we'd just go back and forth. And, we have 4 children. Jay had 4 children. They all are part of this. In our case, Dick spent 10 years when I got sick and ran this company beautifully, successfully, and began the first step in a transition to the next generation. And our son Dan worked in this company for, I think, 15 years, was a vital part of this business. But he knows this business too, and he's on the board. And our daughter Sherry is on the board. And Sherry worked in this company too, as did David Van Andel, and as did Barbara Van Andel, and as did Nan Van Andel, and as did, so all these kids know this business, they're involved in it, they've had a mission to it. The family. But it's not a thing they own, as I said. It's a trust that they're responsible for to you, to protect the hard work you have put in to build your business. And I want to move on to the fourth one, or the third one, actually, which is rewards. We have two types of rewards. You know, we have money rewards and we have pin awards. We have recognition awards. I don't know which is more important sometimes. Sometimes the idea of getting a pin and being recognized drives you more than more money does. But you like both. We offer both. It's important. Nobody could ever tell me enough that they liked a speech. I could hear it over and over. So recognition is important to all of us. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it except to talk about. Don't be afraid to get out of the way. Your children are coming up. Involve them, applaud them, cheer them. And our family is the key to what our greatest rewards are. When people say to me, "What's your legacy going to be?" And I say, my legacy is our children, because they are carrying on as responsible citizens. That's my legacy. What I see is your children becoming so far ahead of others in the world because of their involvement with you in Amway. They learn and know and have values and appreciation for things that most kids never know. And so your rewards are sometime in progress of your family. You know all about the other awards. I looked at them and I saw them saw you all up here and admired you and respected you. And we don't have to develop it, but we spend a lot of time on rewards. I know Doug and Steve spend a lot of time on it, and the other days. And the last one I want to talk about is just hope. That's the last one of the four pillars, because we offer hope to everybody. And for many people, you are the hope that they don't even know about yet, just as you did not know until somebody came and talked to you. And you fortunately said, yes, I'll see, I'll try. You didn't know whether you could do it. You never dreamed you would be where you are. People say to me, "Do you ever dream it would be like this?" And I say, of course not. No one can dream that big. No one can see that far. We wanted to make a living and having our own business. That was our goal. Sam, when we acquired it from your family. Well, what a blessing that has been to the world as a product. Hope that it brings. The hope that you bring to people. But then I put together a little list of my hopes for all of you. I hope this business works for all who work it. You know, some of our people that I know tried the hardest and it just never seemed to go for them. You got to like people like that. That always made me sad. They tried, but it just, somehow, it doesn't seem to work for them. So I hope it works for all the people who work it. I hope your business grows and grows and you never lose sight of the joy of watching other people achieve and discover their realization of their dreams. As you take people from poverty to achievement, to financial success, I hope you enjoy it. Smile, relish it, be proud of it, be grateful you had a hand in it. I hope you have that joy that comes only with watching others achieve. I've had some people in the past distributors we had who said, you know, I don't understand why I don't get anybody in my group who takes charge. And I said to this person one day, I said, that's because you don't let them. Because you don't have any room on your platform for them to stand up and be the leader. You always got to take the mic, and you always got to be in the middle, and you always got to be correcting them. Learn to honor the people coming up and give them space. I hope you'll be the best Amway business owner you've ever been. I hope you'll be the best model in your town. That when anybody sees you, they will say, oh, he's such a wonderful guy. He's in the Amway business, you know. And you become a model for him and your people of integrity and honesty and love and caring for others, as many of you do as you work the one-by-one process. I know many of you are all of that and more every day. But keep it up, will you? And I want to have one more comment. The other day I was talking to a group in Japan on a closed-circuit video conference thing into a meeting in Japan. And the man running the business, Parker, was saying, you know, he said, you started Amway when it was a tough time. Business was bad and the economy was bad. He said, why did you start it then? He said, the economy is bad in Japan right now. And the question is, what about them? What about these times? And I said, you know, I never thought about it. It doesn't make any difference what the times are. It's the only time you got, folks. There is no other time for you or for me. Now is our time. And when you're in this business, you learn to work with where you are now. So now we're going to move on. Think back, I hope, of the good time you had, but most of all of the people out there who don't know yet about what they're missing. And you're going to be the missing link in bringing it to them. And their life will change because of you, as many others have already. I've been in Amway a long time. I believe in it. I like it. But Jay and I have been together since we were 14 years old. So we've been at it a long time. We share a lot of things, a lot of ideas, a lot of stupid ones, and a lot of good ones. But you're the best. And this is the best. And before I finish, I would feel bad if I didn't ask Jay to say a few words. Jay, it's all yours.
The volume of that applause not only is gratifying to me, but it lets me hear how much we've grown since Rich and I held our first Amway convention back in 1961. At that time, I think the entire audience could have easily fitted on this stage. As we enter the 21st century, we'll remain committed to our traditions and our bedrock beliefs and our goals and dreams. We also know that we have the flexibility to meet the challenges of this era of very rapid change. The courage to face change without fear is another quality of our leadership. Change means growth. Even if you think you know what the future holds, you can be in for a surprise sometimes. With the benefit of hindsight, of course, we always know that the future is almost always more remarkable than we can imagine. We can't always rely on the experts. We have to believe in ourselves. You can't predict the future, but you can follow your dreams. These are qualities of leadership that centuries cannot change. No matter what changes the future brings, the human heart, the human mind remained unchanged. And you are here because today you have dreams and you've set goals. And you're willing to work to meet your goals and to make your dreams come true. And those ageless qualities made us leaders in this century and will keep us leaders for the 21st century or for any century beyond. When Rich and I started Amway in our basements of our homes, we had a dream. We dreamed that everyone should have the opportunity to be in business for themselves. Today I look at this tremendous group, this great crowd, and see all of you as fulfillment of that dream. And Rich and I thank all of you because you have made our dreams come true, as we hope that we have helped you make your dreams come true. Thank you.
How about that? Well, Jay had a lot of great ideas, and we had a lot of fun, and he was a wonderful partner for a lifetime, from when we met in high school until they passed away. We were together, kids with a dream, passed now on to you, for you to take it and run with it, and we're looking forward to you're having a wonderful time as we've had a wonderful time with you.